Once upon a time, a wise old man sat cross-legged on the mountain peak, his eyes closed in contemplation. He had spent centuries mastering the art of silence, and he knew its power better than anyone. He had seen civilizations rise and fall, empires come and go, and the ebb and flow of human history play out before his eyes. And through it all, he had learned the value of silence. Silence is the greatest power in the universe, he would say to anyone who would listen. It is the foundation of all wisdom, the source of all knowledge, and the wellspring of all understanding. But his words fell on deaf ears. In a world where noise and distraction were the norm, few people understood the value of silence. They were too busy, too loud, too consumed by their own thoughts and desires to hear the still small voice within. One day, a young seeker arrived at the wise old man's doorstep, seeking answers to life's great mysteries. The young man was restless, always looking for the next thrill, the next adventure, the next thing to fill the void within him. He was like a river, constantly flowing, never still. "I am tired of this constant searching," the young man said to the wise old man. "I want to find the meaning of life once and for all. Can you help me?" The wise old man looked at the young man with compassion. He knew the path he had walked, the struggles he had faced, the doubts and fears that had assailed him. He knew that the young man's restlessness was a reflection of his own inner turmoil. "I can show you the way," the wise old man said, "but you must first learn the power of silence. For in silence, you will find the answers you seek." The young man was skeptical. He had tried meditation, prayer, and all sorts of other spiritual practices, but he had never found the peace and clarity he was seeking. He didn't see how silence could possibly help him. But the wise old man was insistent. He led the young man to a small cabin deep in the woods, far from the distractions of the world. There, he instructed the young man to spend a week in complete silence with only the sounds of nature to keep him company. At first, the young man struggled. He was used to the constant noise of the world, the constant stimulation of his senses. The silence was uncomfortable, even painful. He felt lost and alone, adrift in a sea of emptiness. But as the days passed, something began to change. The young man started to notice the sounds of nature that he had never heard before. The birds singing, the wind rustling through the leaves, the gentle hum of insects. He began to see the beauty in the world around him, the intricate web of life that connected everything. And as he listened, he began to hear the still small voice within. It was a voice that had been drowned out by the noise of his own thoughts and desires. But now it was speaking clearly, offering guidance and wisdom. The young man began to understand the power of silence. He saw that it was not just the absence of noise, but the presence of something deeper, something more profound. It was the space where all things were possible, where all wisdom and knowledge resided. As the week came to a close, the young man returned to the wise old man, transformed. He was no longer restless, no longer searching. He was at peace, filled with a sense of purpose and direction. "Thank you," he said to the wise old man. "I have found what I was looking for. I have found myself." The wise old man smiled, his eyes twinkling with joy. "I knew you would," he said, "for in the power of silence, all things are possible." And with that, the young man learned silence is the key to happiness. He left the wise old man's side, ready to embark on the next stage of his journey, armed with the power of silence and the wisdom of the ages.